Yes, and you are waking up with Damo here on 4WK. It is time to get some local history into your ears, and we do that, of course, with History Out There. And Harold Peacock, and, he's got a bit of an unusual story this morning. Good morning, Harold.
Yes, good morning, Dana. You realise I've got more than 40 stories about the Darling Downs that we've shared on 4WK, so this is just another one.
I know.
Christmas break.
Well, and of course, many people can look up those stories and reread them maybe over the Christmas break on your website, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Online, historyouthere.com. In fact, during the week, I had a call from a listener, Alan Boytel in Toowoomba, and I want to say good morning to Alan because after last week's segment, he called and had some really interesting information to share, which hopefully I can research and come up with something worthwhile. So thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
And good morning.
Good morning to you, Alan. And if there's anyone else out there who's got some interesting stories, all you have to do is give me a call here at the station, and we'll pass your details on to Harold like we did in Alan's case. And you can then have a look and see what they've got as far as history stories.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this is a bit interesting because I've started researching the Windsor Hotel in Dalby because Dalby, hotels always have stories, right?
They do, yes.
But the Windsor Hotel was a little different. It just seems as clean as a white sheet. It's still there. It's been around for a long time, but it has changed a lot, and I found it does have an unexpectedly dark history.
Oh.
Yeah, now look, the story starts with Mr. Harry de Stoker. Now, de Stoker was a master mariner with the British India Company, or British East India Company. He came to Toowoomba in the late 19th century and continued business as a commercial trader. Now, he was a director of the Darling Downs Brewery Company, and that went into liquidation.
Right.
In 1900, he took over the licence of the Royal Hotel, which was burnt down. In 1905, he then moved to Dalby, where he built the Windsor Hotel.
Right.
Now, it's probably thanks to Harry's wife, Jeannie, who after his death took over the licence for 12 years, because the Windsor became extremely well known across the whole district, in fact, around Australia. Loads of the big social events were held there.
Oh.
In fact, it was said at one time that the Windsor was a household name.
Wow.
Now, after 30 years in existence, in 1935, Jeannie transferred the licence to her youngest daughter, Victoria. Now, just a few years earlier, a man had helped Victoria's husband marking lambs and then mysteriously disappeared and was never seen alive again.
Mm.
But that's a little bit beside the case because the licence transfer to Victoria may have caused some family tension because it bypassed the only son and heir, 33-year-old Ormond de Stoker.
Right.
Now, just months later, the Stoker son accepted a position working for Frederick Green. Now, Green was a grazier at Bunya Park Station, which was about 30 miles from Dalby. Green and his wife Maisie were going away and needed Stoker to be caretaker of the property. Now, Stoker accepted the job, and that's when and where remarkable events happened and conclusions, which sometimes a little bit hard to explain, and that followed. One of the witnesses later called was Henry Preben. I think that's right.
Right.
He was a dairy farmer at Bunya Vale, which was less than a mile from Bunya Park Station. Preben had previously been the victim of a pickpocket when he lost his spectacle case and spectacles.
Oh.
Now, the poor woman involved, she was given what seems an incredibly harsh 6 months imprisonment
Wow.
for those spectacles.
Oh.
But in any case, in September 1936, the Greens arrived back on the station, but Stoker was nowhere to be found. Maisie Green packed up his belongings and sent them back into town.
Oh.
But as the property was searched further, they found a heap of ashes with remains of a jacket identified as Stoker's. There was also the remains of a shotgun in there, and there were also bones believed to be human.
Oh.
Now, a note was found nearby, neatly folded in a tree, purporting to be from Stoker and expressing the tragic intention of taking his own life. Now, police determined that the ashes were that of Stoker, and he had indeed ended it all. But that seems remarkable, because that would have required Stoker to have done away with himself, as well as building his own funeral pyre and placing himself on top. Now, that mere possibility seems as dramatic as any story written by Stoker's namesake, Bram Stoker, who, of course, wrote the horror novel Dracula.
Yes.
But Damo, look, in any case, the Windsor Hotel today hides this secret, and I'm going to keep researching, hoping that some new evidence will surface to hopefully add some clarity to all this, because it just does not make sense to me.
It certainly doesn't, and of course, all coming from the family who operated the Windsor Hotel in Dalby, and you can go to Dalby today and check it out, can't you?
I think you should. Well, as long as the weather's all good, I think we should drive around and visit all the pubs and towns. There's some bakeries are a favourite of mine everywhere I go, by the way.
Exactly, and if someone walks up to you and says, "Hi, I'm Stoker," run for the hills.
Yes, exactly right.
Oh, mate, another great story. We can jump onto historyouthere.com and check out that and all of the other stories, some 40 stories now across the Darling Downs and Granite Belt, and you always do a fantastic job, mate. This is our final report for the year, so we do thank you so much for the wonderful stories that you've been telling for our listeners, and we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year, and we'll catch up again when we return in 2025.
Looking forward to it. I've really enjoyed sharing these stories. Merry Christmas to you, Damo, and all the listeners.
There we go. Harold Peacock from historyouthere.com. Read that story and many others. We'll take a break. Back with more.